Hi, I'm Via, and now I'm back with Paola, one of our product designers, to discuss her becoming a product generalist. Welcome, Paola, and welcome from Brazil. Paola is working for us from Brazil usually, but she has been visiting us because of our upcoming retreat. I would like to give you a chance to introduce yourself first so the audience can get to know you a bit better.
All right, thank you, Bia, for having me for this interview. So, I am Paola, I'm a product designer. I've been working at UX Studio for around 4 years, and I work in the new product team where we experiment with new product ideas and start new products from scratch.
Mm-hmm. Yes, just a company structure breakdown. UX Studio has two main sides of business. We have a B2B sides, but as an agency, we work on UX UI client projects, and we do have the B2C side where with internal product teams, we build digital products for niche market audiences, and that's where Paola has been working with us for 4 years. Can you mention what type of products have you been working on?
Yeah, so the first product that we built was Ranking Raccoon, which is a product that is live and you can use it. It's for marketers who have to do link building. So we solve a very painful problem that is doing link building. People usually have to email, do cold emailing for that, and Ranking Raccoon makes that much easier. Besides Ranking Raccoon, we have explored different product ideas so far. One of them that was very interesting was an idea for a tattoo product where I had some rounds of discovery interviews with tattoo artists that was very out of the box and it was a very interesting experience. And now we are working on an AI product for product teams to help them build. So we are building for builders.
Yes, and we cannot really specify this new product yet, so that's why we are not going into the details so far. Now I would like to start the topic of being a product generalist. And in total transparency, when I'm doing these interviews, sometimes I need to do research because I'm not as involved in products and projects. And when typing in product generalist, the result I usually got was about product management. So more like product managers, like overviewing a whole product. Can you please tell us and the viewers what product generalist means here and how have you been working in this position?
Okay, there is a side of product management as well. So I think that at UX Studio, the product designers in the in-house product teams have always been a bit of a generalist because we share the product strategy and product management decisions with David, our CEO. But also because in our team specifically, because we are working on so experimental and new initiatives, you don't have like a clear roadmap or clear tasks that you have to execute. Of course, you do design, but we also take on the research, we do discovery, we do testing. So I think that being a product generalist means doing a lot more than just product design when product design itself is already a very broad role. So it's just incorporating some other tasks from other areas that you have to do while doing your design work.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And so when it comes to product generalist, if I understand correctly, you have already kind like been a product generalist on these new products. So how has your role evolved since then? Like what other new tasks have you had? For example, marketing, you currently don't have a marketer. Do you also do marketing?
Okay, so I think I'll talk about the evolution of
Mm-hmm.
the role because I think that now with AI it has changed quite a lot. It has amplified the generalist part of it. So before AI, what I'd say created the generalist aspect of the role in these teams was that besides designs, we don't really have a dedicated researcher in the team. So we are responsible for doing the research, the discovery, the usability testing, and making strategic decisions based on those. When we had marketers, we also got quite involved in working with them. So not making the main marketing decisions, but like supporting them in campaigns, with assets, with the design stuff that they needed. We also always were responsible for building the website with the no-code builders like Webflow, Framer. So we already had many things in our role, but now with AI, I feel like we are becoming more of builders, and I know that that's like something that everyone is saying right now, but it's actually true. It's how the role is evolving because, for example, I've been more hands-on with coding agents now in this team because we work with so many new product ideas. The developers would kick off proof of concepts for us after we had a prototype or a clear design idea for a product. But now, with the most recent idea, I took over that part and I started using Cursor to kick off a proof of concept. And I basically own that process, not saying that I did not need our developer colleagues in this, but I created a proof of concept myself, even though I don't really have the domain knowledge of code. The coding agents allow me to do that through natural language. And that's a really interesting aspect of the evolution of this role right now in our team.
And how did you gain expertise in this field? So obviously you did have new tasks or things that were not as familiar to you. How did you learn about these new skills?
So I think that for me, it has always been a bit of learning by doing. Even before AI, when I had to learn a new tool, it usually came from a need. So I have something that I need to achieve in that tool, and I will learn just what I need to get that done. And I think it's the most efficient way because with the internet, you can go through so many tutorials to learn a new tool from scratch. But when you need to do so many things, you have to aim at what your main goal is there. And I think one of the key points here is to not be intimidated by all the resources that you can find and just actually become hands-on as soon as possible. With the AI, I felt like I've been seeing so many news about designers getting closer to code and using coding agents. And when you are like far from it, it's much easier to get FOMO and get intimidated and scared by it. But I felt like once I got hands on with it, I just felt much better, like more in control of my own role. So I think that getting hands-on as soon as possible is the key. But also, we were watching so many new tools come out as it still happens every day. And David allowed me to take some time to explore them and try out as many as possible. It was a very interesting experiment for me, but I felt like when you are using a new tool just for like, let me see how this works or what I can do with it is not as effective, at least for me. It was only when I had a clear goal in my head that I started to actually use them properly or deeply. So, for example, when we had this new product idea and I decided that I was going to build a proof of concept, it was much easier for me because I knew what I wanted to achieve. I knew the steps to get there. So with the coding agents, the good thing is that you when you face some challenges, you can just ask them what you should do next. And also you have so many forums online where you can see people going through the problems that you have been through and how they solved it. So yeah, I think that getting hands-on as soon as possible is one of the things. And second, have a clear goal. Like you need to have something that you're passionate about that you want to execute with these tools, or not necessarily passionate, but like something that you need to do. Because just exploring keeps you in the surface level. That's how I feel, at least for me. So yeah, this was the key. In marketing, for example, while we don't have a dedicated marketer for the new product ideas, I had to run a LinkedIn ad campaign, for example, to test out some value proposition ideas that we had, and I had no idea how to do that. So luckily, we have very nice marketers in the company that I can just ask for advice, but it's a lot of figuring out by yourself and reaching out to the relevant people whenever needed. So I think that's also very important to count on other people in the company that can help you do specific things that you have to do that are outside your main expertise.
And so you already started to mention how this changed the contribution that you have with your developer colleagues, but can you please go in a bit more detail, like how this is changing your collaboration with the two developers that you're currently working with?
Yeah, I think it changed a lot because even though we did not work in a waterfall process, it felt like I did my work, I did my own thing, and then we all were happy with it, and then they started working with it. For example, the proof of concept, it was quite iterative when they were building it. I was giving suggestions, but still, like we had the main idea in mind before they started building it. And now I was owning this process of like starting the thing from scratch and also building it. So I feel like we are mainly having two different developer roles shaping in the product. One of them is more like system architect, the person that after I build a working proof of concept will make the actual decisions to turn that into a product. But we also have some developers going more into the design area and also building like I am doing for even for the other products in the company. And I think that's very interesting. But back to how I collaborate with them, I think that building with AI helped me understand way more of what they go through. And because, for example, I did not understand why they needed so much focus time while they were working, and I got into this very intense flow state with the coding agents where I wanted to cancel all my meetings. I even asked David, can we cancel our one-on-one? I need to focus on this. And it was very interesting. I realized, oh, okay, this is why they don't want to have
Mhm.
so many meetings. And what I hear from Full Up, the developer that was helping me the most through this process, was that he feels this is a great way to build together because after I built the POC, I already kind of made some design decisions there. And when they made the proof of concepts, they basically ignored the UI or just, did what was the quickest. And now our proof of concepts are more robust in terms of design. So it's an easier transition from a POC to a product because you already had some design decisions, some design thinking behind it. And I think that was really cool. And overall, I feel like it actually brought us closer because we are now together from the start. It's not this separate type of process. And I truly enjoy it. I think it's been more fun to
Mhm.
build together.
Mhm. That's exciting. And how do you think this will change the industry, or how designers and developers work together?
I think that they have to be open minded. Like designers more and more have to be able to embrace this generalist aspect of the role that has always been there, but now you will have to get more involved with other things like the building of the product from scratch with the POC, for example. So I think that both have to be very open-minded and not like, oh, this is my thing and I just want to do this and I don't want to get involved in what you are doing, because that can happen sometimes. So the key for good collaboration is to be open minded. And I also think that they have to have a more collaborative mindset, which is related to what I was just saying. Embrace the teamwork, like needing each other at different moments when maybe you didn't need them before. Like when I was designing, I didn't always involve them in my design decisions, although I always enjoyed asking for their opinions. But now we are there together in the coding agent with the code base and the GitHub PRs. So yeah, it became way more collaborative, and
Mhm.
I think that it will happen in the industry.
Mhm. This sounds very exciting, and it sounds like a positive change. So, can you also please share with us, like, what is the most challenging about being a product generalist?
I think is number one is probably managing everything that you
Mm.
have to do. Um, so yeah, that has always kind of been there. But one thing that I notice is context switching. Sorry,
Mhm.
I think that's really hard. So I have always been involved in the product management decisions, strategic decisions with David, and that requires a lot of higher level thinking. So you cannot be caught up in a design detail, you cannot be caught up in a code detail. And when you are building, you are so in the flow state with the coding agents. Like I'm correcting the prompt that does this in the product, or I'm changing the UI of this part of the product. It's super hard to, from one moment to the other, or from one day to the other, stop thinking about that and start thinking about like, should we even be building this? Because my mind gets so caught up in the feature that I'm building or in the test that I'm doing. So if I had to say the main challenge, I think it's that for me. So going from small thinking, not small thinking, but thinking into details, but to bigger picture thinking.
Hmm. And the industry is also changing with the introduction of AI and these technological advancements. So, what advice do you have for product designers who are currently before this leap?
I think that first of all, they should not be scared of it or scared of trying or listening to these people that are saying that design is dead. I don't think that will ever be a thing, even if you use AI intensively in your workflows. I think there's never been so much room for innovation. So I think that we should embrace these new tools and technologies. But I think that back to what I was saying, a good advice would be when you want to try out something new, have a clear goal, have something that you want to accomplish with it, because it's so easy to get overwhelmed by the amount of tools and the amount of things that each tool does. So if you're just like exploring or trying it out, you can, at least for me, I can get lost very easily. So thinking about the main goal that you have and making smart decisions about what tools are you going to try, what are you going to try accomplishing with them, and again, keeping an open mind. Like, I think the key is to see this as an opportunity for your career and not as something that is threatening it.
Mm. Now, thank you so much for your insights about being a product generalist and how you have evolved in your profession. Now, I do have some fun questions for you.
Okay.
I would like to ask you, so you have been with the studio for 4 years. What has been your favorite memory?
I think it was probably the first time that I arrived here in Hungary to visit the studio. It was just 2 months after I started, if I remember correctly. And I felt so welcome here. And going to the retreat, I think at the time we had a 2 night retreat.
Yes, could be like we experimented with that once.
Yeah, and it was at a wine place where they made wine. Yeah, it just felt like the first time that I realized that this is real, because working from Brazil, I mean, I knew it was real, but being here felt different. So I really enjoyed it and I'll never forget that.
Hmm. And how has it been working from Brazil? So the time difference is a bit wide. Uh, just to put it nicely and diplomatically, like how do you manage working for us remotely, and what are the biggest top advantages and maybe disadvantages about this setup?
Okay, so I actually make the most of the time difference
Hmm.
because I'm an early bird person. I have always been. So I really like to wake up super early and align with your time zone, even though I didn't need to. I had the flexibility. So I start my day around 5 or 6 a.m. and then I finish work around 2 or 3 p.m. And that allows me to basically have like a second day
Hmm.
where I go to the gym, I go do my stuff, and it's still daylight. So I truly enjoy that. One thing that sometimes I miss is just this thing that we have here now where you meet people without like scheduling anything and you catch up. So yeah, that part I miss, but I truly enjoy the time zone
Hmm.
difference
Hmm.
actually.
Yeah, it sounds nice. Like if you're an early bird,
Yeah.
then it's me. I'm not. So that would make it difficult for me. And when like we rarely have a chance to collaborate, so that's why it was also nice to have this interview opportunity with you. because there were some times when I knew I had to write you, and our 9 a.m. is kind of like 4 a.m. there, and scheduled the Slack message instead, because there were one or two times when I messaged you and then you immediately replied back, and Slack says that, oh, Paola is in, like, it's 5 a.m. Paola time. And I was just like, oh, Jesus Christ. And I remember your onboarding too.
Yeah.
Because we didn't even think about, being so far apart. And then you logged in, it was a bit dark even. And then I just asked you, like, Paula, what time is it? 4 a.m. Just like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. I know it's not for everyone, but I really do enjoy it. So don't
Then
worry.
yeah, then it's a good thing. Oh my God! Since then we try to be mindful about this, but that time we did not. I know that before coming here to Budapest this time, you have been visiting Belgium and Germany, right?
In the Netherlands, yeah.
And the Netherlands. And what other parts of Europe have you visited?
Yeah, so every time that I visit Hungary for a retreat, I try to visit other places in Europe because it's quite close and my trip from Brazil is very long. So I have been to many places. I've been to Italy, Switzerland, different cities in Germany, now Belgium, the Netherlands. I have also been to Portugal,
Mm-hmm.
Austria. Let me think. I think those were all the countries, but
Mm-hmm.
it's quite a lot.
And what is still on your bucket list?
I haven't been to Spain yet,
Mm-hmm.
and I heard so many great things about it. So next time I will definitely go to Spain.
Great. Good plans. I might join you.
Yeah,
I also
please.
haven't
You're
been to Spain.
welcome.
And what are you looking forward to most about the retreat?
I think that let me think.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that there are going to be horses
Mm-hmm.
there this time, so I look forward to catching up with them or meeting them. And I saw that we are going to have different fun activities,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm always curious to know what the fun activities are going to be. I know that they are revealed like close to the date, so yeah, I wanna hear about them.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm also very excited about the horses. We always try to go to like different places each time we go to
Yeah,
a retreat, and have some different activities. And we have recently moved offices.
yeah.
Paula has arrived to Budapest yesterday. So this is your second day in the office. Can you maybe name something that's a favorite of yours in this new place?
Yeah, I love this new office since I entered the door. But one thing that I really like is the floors on the
Mm-hmm.
corridor as soon as you get into the office. I love that. They are colorful, they are artsy, it's super cool. And also, um, I just had the moment where I had to ask Esther, our office manager, for a code to access a tool, which we usually do through Slack, and I could just ask her in the desk next to me. So that's really nice. I love it.
Yes, yes. That was so funny.
Yeah.
And what is your biggest pet peeve? It's a
Uh,
very vague question, so whatever comes to your mind.
yeah, I think it's when people are inconsiderate with other people's time.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you book something at a certain time and they don't feel like they need to show up at that time. I mean, I know that things
Mm-hmm.
happen, but like when people do that on purpose, I don't like
Yeah.
that.
Do you maybe have an example? Just a juicy one. Just to say a
You're
juicy
putting
example.
me in a weird position now.
I'm sorry. No, no, we don't have to do it if it's not
Eh,
so. Was it maybe on user test or?
Oh yeah, I can give
Mm-hmm.
that example.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for example, user tests, when we have a scheduled test and I know the technical issues happen, but sometimes I'm waiting there like 20 minutes and we had the 40-minute slot booked and then it's been half of it already
Mm-hmm.
and the person joins 20 minutes after it started. So, yeah.
Yeah, I also do have this kind of experiences with the recruitment type of interviews, but sometimes people message me just before, so that's fine. But then sometimes I'm just like 5 minutes in, and I'm like, hey, do you have technical difficulties joining? And there was one time when the guy was like, we had an interview scheduled for Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
and I messaged him. He was luckily like near his email, so he could immediately be sorry, I thought it was Thursday. So he
Oh.
didn't know, but he could jump on the call. He apologized. He could not prepare as much because of this, but we still had the interview and then he proceeded to the next step. So it turned out fine for him as well.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah.
cool. I think the problem is just that you have like a whole schedule for the week, and then it's super messy to rearrange these
Yes.
things if people are not considerate
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
time.
You're blocking the time and then
Yeah,
you
exactly.
plan your next steps accordingly. And how about hobbies? So you mentioned working out, for example, and having for your afternoons with sunshine in Brazil. What other hobbies do you have?
Yeah, so I think gym is the number one. I have to do it basically every day. I
Mm-hmm,
love it. But I also like to do yoga. So basically, I really like to move my body
mm-hmm,
whenever I have free time. I also love listening to music. I'm a big fan girl. Yeah, I think those would be the main ones.
mm-hmm. And I do have a surprise question. So
Okay.
just as the last interview, every interview I try to have one very unhinged question, and this is what I found for Paola. You've been given an elephant. You can't give it away or sell it. What would you do with the elephant? Feel free to think about this.
Yeah, I need some time. What do I do with the elephant? Well, it doesn't fit in my apartment, probably. Maybe I would buy a place for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could buy a farm where
Mm-hmm.
I could keep it and I would treat it with love. Why not?
Oh,
Could
that's
be a
lovely.
pet.
Yeah, yeah. Could be a lovely. They are highly intelligent.
Yeah, and
So
they are
yeah.
cute.
I could maybe also imagine it using it for commute purposes.
Oh, it would be slow though, right?
Yeah, yeah, true, true. And it would be like the parking. Poor elephant wouldn't fit in the entrance of the
Yeah.
office. Can you imagine the elephant in this small corridor? Oh my god.
But I love where your brain went.
Yes, and just like coming in like in the Aladdin, the pencil leaf. Just
That's
like,
Bia on her elephant.
yes. Oh, it's just like, what is that noise? It's behind her elephant. It's either that or me in high heels on a
Yeah.
parquet floor.
That's quite
Oh
a
god.
high difference.
Yes, yes. But thank you so much, Paola, for all the time and the insights that you had about this topic. Paola has recently written a blog post about the POC that she mentioned, so I will try to link it wherever I can in this YouTube video or in the description. If you have any questions about the product generalist topic or anything else, please drop it in the comments so we can address it in later videos. Thank you again, Paula. It was lovely to have you, and thank you so much for taking the time for this interview. We wish you a very nice rest of your day and take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.